let's just go with it. I'm trading options. Explain the both call put option type like I'm a beginner to options. All right, so John, I want to give this a try because I'm going to try to get this in one video because I'm sort of helping to rewrite a little bit how it's worded, and I just want to make sure that I got the pitch clear enough. Are you willing to humor me here?
Sure.
All right. So let me just pull it up here so you guys can actually see what we're talking about. So that's when you're inside of an if you're trading options under asset class, you have an option here for option type, and you have this option for both call and put. And what this means is this will set how TradersPost interprets an action buy or an action sell. All right.
Right.
So
So
you're sorry, go
you
ahead.
ready? We
Yeah.
ready? Okay. So at the root of it, TradersPost, if you don't specify the exact contract that you want to trade, it scans the option chain to select a contract. So when you have both selected, what that means is when you send an action of buy, it's going to open up long calls. And when you send an action of sell, it's going to sell to close those long calls and buy to open long puts, because long puts are bearish and an action of sell is a bearish signal. So basically, bullish long calls, bearish long puts. If you select call, then it's basically going to buy long calls, and then when you get a sell signal, it's just going to exit those long calls. And the puts is the same thing except the reverse. When you get an action of buy, it's going to sell to open puts, and when you send an exit signal, it's going to close those puts.
All right. So let me try a pitch here just to make sure like I've gotten the idea here, because so when you're buying the option, and if you want to deal with both calls and puts, you want to be trading both, then the both option, your action buy will buy a call, action sell will buy a put, and if you want to close any of those positions, you have to send action exit, right? So action exit works on the both one. That's correct. For the call, you're saying, I only want to deal with calls. I don't want to deal with puts. I only want to deal with calls. And so it makes sense. I'm going to buy a call to express a bullish position, and I'm going to sell that call if I'm no longer bullish. I'm only dealing with calls. With puts, this is where it gets tricky. With puts, I only want to deal with puts. And you might think then, okay, so I'll just buy a put when I'm sending an action buy, and I'll sell a put when I'm doing action sell. But no, it's actually the reverse. The put one is where it's actually reversed.
Correct.
Because
And I'd like to make that setting something that you can control. The root of that is because people are trading options based on the underlying chart.
right.
So if I'm trading the underlying, say Tesla, and Tesla is going down, and I get a sell signal, I don't want to short puts. I want to get long puts, because long puts are a bearish position. So I'd like to make that setting explicit so that you can control that, so that you could basically make action buy or sell actually just do exactly what it says. And it would only be something that maybe you would turn on if you're trading options from a strategy that's running on the underlying chart, on the underlying asset for the option. So that, and that's originally everyone was using TradersPost that way with TradingView, but as we've grown and as we've gotten more complicated, people are, and now that TradingView has option support, that whole idea is kind of invalidated.
So would it come down the pike one day where the put that's switched and it's actually works the other way?
Well, we wouldn't change it for everyone. It would be like a setting where like the setting value for gets set to like the behavior it is today, so that everybody's behavior stays the same. But then going forward, you would be able to like turn off that setting so that the action is respected. And if I send action sell and I have puts configured, then it's going to sell to open puts instead of buy to open long puts.
that sounds suspiciously like adding a fourth option to this list.
It does. This gets complicated, man, and it's hard to make changes to software once people are using it because you can't
That's right.
change the behavior for everyone else out there. But you want to give people new settings so that everyone going forward, when they create new strategies, they could maybe turn that setting off. It's really just, I want to make that inversion behavior an explicit option. Right now, there's like an implicit behavior that's hard coded in the back end, and the action buy or sell is basically flipped when it comes to puts.
Right. I would only make one suggestion here on behalf of the audience, and that's in this drop down. Do you think it makes sense that instead of the description the way it is right now, that instead of saying bullish and bearish, it actually says action buy and action sell the way it does in the
Maybe,
documentation?
maybe.
Because so only when I went from this to the documentation, I was like, oh wait, now I get it. But here,
Yeah,
because they're saying bullish and bearish, I didn't understand that you were talking about the action attribute
right.
or parameter.
Yeah, it used to actually, like if you scroll up,
Oops, hold
sorry.
on a second. Yeah.
So if you scroll up to go to the first section, subscription details. So sides, that drop down used to be bullish used to say buy and bearish used to say sell.
I see.
But then when we introduced the options asset class, that no longer made sense
Right.
because puts are reverse basically.
Right.
So it was changed to bullish and bearish. But yeah, maybe there could be more description there. But essentially today, just remember, action buy means it's a bullish signal, and action sell means it's a bearish signal.